What causes tides? Lesson 20. Have you ever spent a day at the beach? If you have, then you know that the water in the ocean does not stay at one level. At certain times of the day, the water is higher than at other times. The water level rises and falls at regular time periods. We call this regular rise and fall of ocean tides. There are high tides and low tides. Look at figure A on the facing page. It shows a coastline at low tide. Figure B shows the same coastline at high tide. Just a few hours later, notice the difference in the water level. Tides do not change suddenly. High tides move in slowly. Then, after the water reaches its highest point, it moves out slowly. A low tide is followed by a high tide, which is followed by another low tide. Most seashores have four tides every day, two high tides and two low tides. A change of tide takes about 6 hours and 12 minutes. What causes tides? Tides are caused by the pull of gravity by both the moon and the sun. The moon is more important because it is closer to the earth. The moon pulls on the earth with greater force than the sun does. The moon pulls upon the earth's land and water. The pull is hardly any effect upon the land. Rock does not move easily, but water is different. Water moves very easily. It flows. The pull bulges the water on the part of the earth that is facing the moon. This part of the earth has high tide. There is also high tide on the opposite side of the earth, the side facing away from the moon. Areas that supplied the water for high tide areas have low tides. The earth is always rotating. As it turns, different parts face the moon. This causes the tides to keep changing. Page 120, Understanding Tides. If the moon and the sun did not pull on the earth, there would be no tides. The ocean level would be the same everywhere. However, the moon and the sun do pull on the earth. Two special tides. The chief cause of tides is the moon, but the sun also has an effect on tides. Its effect is less. This is because the sun is so far away. Its pull upon the earth is very weak. The sun's gravity helps provide two special kinds of tides, spring tides and neap tides. Spring tides happen twice a month, at new moon and full moon. Spring tides produce high tides that are higher than usual. Spring tides produce low tides that are lower than usual. Neap tides happen twice a month, also, but at quarter moons. Neap tides produce moderate tides, that is, tides that are not as high and not as low as usual.